All right, welcome back everybody. This is part two of the block cleaning and prep video. And what we did is, and you can see it's looking pretty good in there, nice and clean. A little bit of discoloration here and there, but we're not really worried about that. But um, one of the things I did after I blew it all out with air is I squirted some WD-40 down in the bolt holes here where the main caps bolt on. Also, whenever the motor was on the other side, I squirted WD-40 down in the head bolt holes. And the reason is, from washing this, you're going to get a lot of moisture in there, and even though I blew it out with air, you could still get some flash rust, and that could affect the torque reading later on. So just to keep that from rusting, we want to coat that with WD-40. So what I did is filled up the holes with WD-40, went ahead and finished cleaning the block, flipped it over, put WD-40 in the head bolt holes, went ahead and cleaned the top surface there and the cylinder walls from the flash rust that I got on there. And then, of course, whenever I flipped this over, oil, the WD-40 would have fallen out of here, and that's okay. Because after that, what we did is we flipped it back over, took air and blew all that out. So any that WD-40 that was in there, it's going to blow that out. I don't want to try to compress that, have like a little puddle in there and try and compress that. That's not going to work. So after that, flipped it back over, blew out all the holes for the head bolts and cleaned up everything. And so now we're ready for the next phase. And we already got the plug here in the back on that side down there too. We got those in, and we got, come around here to the front, we got one in the side here, one on the side. We're going to put this other one in, and then we have one in the front here to do, right down here. I'm having a little trouble watching this and aiming the camera here, but we're going to put that in, and then we're going to put our secret bolt in. I'll show you what that's all about in a minute. First, I want to show you this stuff here. Now hopefully my camera is going to be held steady. All right, I got like this tiny little tripod that I'm using. So what I like to use on these is the Permatex #2 Forma gasket. I'm going to put that right on there. That's what we do to keep it off our fingers. Then put that on the end of the Allen wrench, and then we're just going to put a nice little bead right on the threads. And pipe threads are tapered, so it's going to go at tapered, so I know this is going to cut the threads. We don't have to go crazy, but we don't need to spare any product either. All right, and we're going to take this. Let's go back over. We're trying to do this with one hand. So we're going to put this in here and start it. And this is what I did with all these. So we're going to do that. Get that going in there. You can see that's turning in real nice and clean. Nice and smooth. And you don't have to kill it when you tighten it, just tighten it real nice. And it's still turning pretty easy. Come on, focus. There we go. And that feels pretty tight there. And just give it a little bit more. That's all we need. All right, you can see some squished out there. We're going to address that later. We'll just wipe off the excess. All right, now the next is this little guy here. Goes in the side of the block. So the procedure is the same. Put that on there. Put #2 in there. I want to just make sure we have a nice little bead going all the way around. Then we're going to come back over. This one goes in the back of the block. This is one of the oil passages they drill out, so you can get oil through the motor. So we're going to put that in there. Just same thing. Pretty tight, and then we're just going to give it a little bit more. I'm going to try from down here where we get some finger room. And you can use a ratchet, with the Allen hex key on it. Well, I got some on my finger. And that's pretty good. But it's kind of easy to over torque these, so just use the old-fashioned Allen wrench. So, all right, now next. We're going to come back over. We're going to get our bolt. Clean ourselves up a little bit here. Ugh, stuff gets everywhere. Should have probably had gloves on for this, but that's okay. This stuff doesn't really hurt you. All right, now this is our bolt that we gotta seal up. So we're gonna put a nice bead all up and down the threads here, all up and down the threads. Completely cover those threads. Okay. All right, now this bolt, if you do not have this bolt in, you're going to have a massive internal oil leak. I'm going to show you why. Right here is where the oil filter goes, and right below that here is a hole that they drill to help with the oil passages in the motor to make sure oil gets everywhere. Factory installs this bolt in there to seal it so that you don't get an internal oil leak. So I'm just going to put that in. And the interesting thing about this is this bolt is the only bolt on this motor this size. It's the only one. There's something different about it with the thread pitch and the length and the size. It will not fit anywhere. And if you lose this, it's gonna be difficult to try and find a replacement. All right, so as you can see, we got stuff all over our hands. Then all we got to do is just take the old ratchet. I'm trying to do this all with one hand and tighten it down. It's good. Don't have to go crazy on it. There is a torque spec for that, but it's really not a critical bolt other than the fact that it needs to be sealed and it needs to be there. Well, I think that's it. So at this point, we're actually ready to start reassembling the motor, but we have the crank to get ready next. So the next video that you see, we're gonna do a backyard polishing on the crank. We're gonna polish the crank kind of old school. It's a real old mechanics trick, and I'll show you guys how to do that in the next video. Thanks for watching. Hit the bell. My hands are dirty. Hit the bell. Like and subscribe. Thanks, guys. Bye.